Last week, Godzilla Vs Kong debuted in theaters as well as on HBO Max, and it has been demolishing pandemic box office records ever since. So today we're going to stop and rank all 4 MonsterVerse final battles from the least best to the best. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your ranking of all 4 MonsterVerse final battles. My list isn't the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see yours. Also, as we go into this, the final battles in these movies are kind of what you go to see, and I think all 4 movies have a fun monster battle at the end of them, so I enjoy all 4 of these. There isn't the bad one in my mind. Also, I've done a bunch of other MonsterVerse content. You can check it out right up here. My reviews, my ranking of the movies, all in that playlist, and let's get started. Coming in last place is Kong Skull Island. Once again, to be totally clear, I thoroughly enjoy this final battle. A big part of that is that it's in daylight, so you can see everything that's going on. The special effects are fantastic, and the nature of the Kong character, he has a bit more of a personality than Godzilla, and so he does things to try and save humans and interact with them a little bit more on a personal level, so it just has a bit of a nice, weird word to use, but human touch to the final battle. My favorite moment of the fight is where he uses an anchor, basically his brass knuckles, to try and smash this creature and punch him around a little bit. The thing that puts it in last place, though, is that the Skull Crawler isn't like this main character or villain throughout the film. They're on this journey, and Samuel L. Jackson is essentially the villain character. So when you get to the final battle, it is a final boss fight. It is the biggest creature that Kong has to fight, but it's just kind of revealed and released at the end, and not in a way that you actually care about it or in a way that you think he'll actually be victorious. And so while it is a cool fight scene, I just didn't care enough about the Skull Crawler to have enough oomph for it to be higher up on the list. In third place is Godzilla King of the Monsters. Now, this final battle has a ton of things going for it. You've got Godzilla and Mothra teaming up against Rodan and Ghidorah, and that is an epic showdown that you want to see. Inside of it, you have Mothra sacrificing itself in order to save Godzilla so he can be revived and get back up and destroy Ghidorah in the final battle. There's no shortage of monster mayhem, carnage, gigantic electrical bursts taking place, and my favorite moment of the sequence would have to be when Godzilla slurps up Ghidorah by its neck like spaghetti and then nuclear blasts the head to disintegrate it in the final moments. Based purely on the fight itself, it would have been higher up on the list. The problem we have with this one, though, is that intercut with the final battle is some of my least favorite stuff of the entire movie, which is the redemptive arc for Vera Farmiga, where she's teaming back up with Kyle Chandler. They're bickering a little bit during the car ride about where their daughter is and all this stuff. And then they try and have her have a sacrificial, heroic send-off. And I think it just totally misread what the audience wanted for this character. I wanted justice, not redemption. She was responsible for hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of lives being lost, and the movie just didn't really acknowledge that enough. So in the middle of awesome carnage, the final fight itself is very cool, and then they hurt it by intercutting with just a total misfire of a plot line, but all the monster stuff was exactly what I wanted it to be. Our runner-up is going to be Godzilla 2014. Now, the big criticism of this film is that all throughout the first 2/3 of the movie, every time Godzilla was about to do something, it would cut to a news broadcast or doors would close. So finally, you get to the last 15 minutes of the movie, and Godzilla goes to work, gets in this big, gigantic fight that goes on for about 10, 15 minutes, something like that, and it delivers on what you wanted. Now, the color scheme is dark on dark, so that's unfortunate, so it's not quite as clear as you would hoped. But what this movie does better than the other ones is that it actually builds tension towards things. It's also a problem with the film, but it means that while you're in the middle of the fight scene, when he does his first nuclear blast, it like slowly builds towards it. You see like the blue starting to light up and you're like, is this about to go down? And then it does, and when it does, you just go wild because the movie does such a good job of having the back and forth stakes, tension being built. Godzilla gets knocked down, he gets back up, he gets supercharged, and finally we get that nuclear blast in the fight. It is cutting back and forth to humans doing stuff with bombs and trying to get them out of the city. It's not nearly as interesting as the monster stuff that's going on. That's really what I wanted to focus on, but when Godzilla's doing his thing, it's very cool. Best moment of the fight scene, I gotta go with the obvious one. Godzilla rips his mouth open and just nuclear blast down the throat to kill him. Awesome fatality, so it's the best moment. But easily coming in first place is Godzilla vs Kong. This is a final battle that goes on for a long time, and it is a 3-course meal. Godzilla and Kong have their throwdown, and it itself is awesome as the two of them are duking it out with very different skill sets and advantages. Kong has gotten Mjolnir, and he is just tearing at Godzilla, blocking blasts, jumping off buildings, doing acrobatic punches and kicks and stuff like that. That Godzilla, nuclear blast, tough to beat it. It's a nice little thing to have in a fight like this. Eventually you get to the point in time where Godzilla gets the upper hand and is just tearing up Kong, and you're like, no, this is not a good idea because we know what's about to happen. Kong goes down for a little bit. Mechagodzilla comes out. We get round 2, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. They're duking it out, and because Godzilla just got a little bit of a fight, he's a little bit winded at the moment. Mechagodzilla is just tearing him to pieces. He is not in good shape, but luckily Tarzan uses his spaceship as a defibrillator, wakes Kong back up. He gets up, and they're able to be like, dude, he's not the enemy, robot's the enemy, go get the robot. We get round 3, Kong rejuvenated. You probably wouldn't be rejuvenated by being electrocuted, but hey, I'm fine with the lack of logic in this movie. He stands back up and, having seen the movie Lethal Weapon, walks over to a building, slams his shoulder into it to relocate it, gets all pumped up, ready to go. He goes to town on Mechagodzilla with Mjolnir. He's just tearing this guy to pieces, getting all kinds of advantage, nice hits on him. And he starts having moments towards the end where it looks like maybe he's not gonna make it. And all of a sudden towards the end, Godzilla nuclear blast Mjolnir supercharges it. And he just starts slashing away, tearing up Mechagodzilla. And having seen this one in a theater with a crowd of people, an awesome scene to see with a whole bunch of people just destroying this guy. Mechagodzilla falls down. Godzilla on the ground screams out, finish him, and then Godzilla does a full-blown fatality, rips Mechagodzilla's head off, spine intact, up in the air. Godzilla then shouts out, flawless victory. Amazing, amazing stuff. This is exactly what I wanted to see in the third act of this movie. I went into it, it was pretty obvious to me that at some point in time they're going to team up to take on some bigger threat. Mechagodzilla was the person that the internet was speculating and people had spotted in the trailer. That's what we got, and I am totally fine with the fact that they followed a familiar formula because it was awesome. Therefore, it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video and want more MonsterVerse content, check out that playlist right over there. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.